You are listening to the SDSU Football Podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your hosts Andre Hagverdian and Paul Garrison. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of the SDSU Football Podcast. I am your host, Andre Hagverdian, and will be joined shortly by my co-host, as always, Paul Garrison. On tap for today's episode is two interviews with newcomers to San Diego State for the fall season and the class of 2023. Both are defensive linemen. The first is Sinn Brennan and KJ Jiles, who's a JUCO transfer from Hocking College. Both gave great interviews, learned a lot about both as not just football players, but as people. I think you guys will enjoy it, so let's get right to it. Our first guest today is Sinn Brennan, a 6'5", 215-pound defensive end from Los Alamitos High School. Brennan, in 3 years as a varsity player, recorded 15 sacks, 134 tackles, 84 of which were solo, and 27 tackles for loss. During his senior season in 2022, he had 13 tackles for loss, 38 solo tackles, and 7 sacks in 12 games, earning him all Sunset League honors. Brennan picked San Diego State over offers from Colorado State, Nevada, and San Jose State. We want to welcome Sinn Brennan to the SDSU Football Podcast. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. Nice to be here.
You know, you on early signing day, you signed to San Diego State as part of the signing class for class of 2023. Take us through your recruiting process, how San Diego State fit into that, what other schools you were considering, and why San Diego State?
I had, I think, 5 schools to consider. I had Hawaii, Colorado State, Nevada, San Jose State, and San Diego State. I mean, it's not much to say. I mean, I love San Diego. It's in California, and it's really close to home. It's only an hour and a half drive maybe. And I was like, it's nice, and I've always been talking to them. I talked to them maybe a year ago, but then some stuff happened they couldn't offer me. But then right when I got everything straight, they came back and they offered me, and I committed pretty much, not on the spot, but close to on the spot.
You took an official visit, I believe, in early December. What were some of your highlights of that? Who was your player host?
Player host, it was Trey White, I'm pretty sure. He was super cool. I mean, he gave me a lot of pointers. He showed me the dorm rooms, and he was just telling me all like the pros that football players have that come in onto campus, and it just stood out that like it felt like I got treated like a god if I were to come there. You know, everyone loves San Diego State football there. He was really cool. I liked him.
He's been a popular player host, so he's obviously doing something right.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was.
I think he's only freshman player host too. I think. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Also, another thing, I was with Briley and a bunch of people, and they're really cool too. So it was fun to be on the official visit with them.
I dubbed Briley the most interesting man in the world. He was on here. It was unbelievable. Like the different things that he's been about.
Oh, it's 10 times better in person. I mean, I remember he came to one of the dinners with a full cowboy outfit on. Yeah, he's one. You don't forget people like him. He's funny.
I cannot wait to cover him, man. Keep covering him, man. It's great.
Yeah.
So, on early signing day, you signed your official NIL, as Andre talked about, but you tweeted out, "Today's not my day. It was my mom's. Without her love, patience, and support, none of this is possible." Why was it so important on that day to be able to give that message out?
I mean, my mom definitely my biggest supporter. I mean, my dad's close second, but my mom just she just does everything for me. I can't imagine life without her, but I feel like she deserves that for sure. That recognition, just to people know that she's one of the biggest reasons why it's happening.
There's a video on YouTube for everyone who maybe hasn't seen. You can Google it, where your dad makes a very similar comment about her and just all of that. But in doing the research for this, man, that same video, your dad kind of mentioned a little line about, turning things around and figuring things out. You had mentioned an article about a transfer issue, and you said at the very beginning that once you got it, the state couldn't offer you right away, but you had to get some things squared away. I mean, what was taking place that you were able to clear up to be able to become an Aztec?
I'm not a big school guy. I don't think a lot of football players are. But once COVID came around, I feel like it kind of just messed up my whole school experience completely.
Mm-hmm.
And like online school is just so much harder for me. I didn't like it. It was like couldn't be in person, and I feel like that had a big effect on my grades, and my grades would shoot down because I had no more motivation for school. But then after that, I feel like I just worked hard. Like, I remember Coach Coop. I'm not sure if he's here anymore, but I don't think he is. But he called me my sophomore year. He was like, "You get your grades figured out, and we'll figure out stuff on our end." So he kept that promise, and I'm grateful for that.
You're the second person that we've interviewed who had the exact same comment about COVID, and I've seen that from students all over the place. Yep. Congrats on getting it all turned around, man. That is not easy.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You mentioned San Diego's close to home. You're in the Southern California, Los Angeles area. Your bio lists you're from Honolulu. And I believe you have some Japanese bloodline. Can you kind of give us a little bit about your background?
I'm half Japanese, and I was born in Japan, and then when I was really young, around 1 or 2, we moved to Hawaii, and that's pretty much where I grew up. I'd say that's where I grew up. Yeah, half Japanese, grew up in Hawaii. I mean, it's not that different from California, but Hawaii is just unique. Nothing changes. Like it's nothing like Hawaii.
Well, how old were you when you moved to Southern California?
I moved for high school pretty much. So like,
oh wow,
I moved. I remember it was for sports in specific, pretty much. I was a big basketball guy. I was playing basketball. My dad was like, "We can't get recruited out in Hawaii for basketball or football. It's like it's not going to work." So my 7th grade year made a big decision. We came to California, and then after that, we started getting recognized by a bunch of high schools. And yeah, it was really nice.
You're listed as a defensive lineman. For people who have not seen you play, how would you describe your game?
I don't like talking about myself very much, but I'd say I like to get my job done first, and then I'm a quick learner. I feel like I can learn defenses really well. It doesn't take me that long to learn my position and what I have to do. And I feel like I'm coachable. I can do what my coaches tell me to do. Whatever. Like I can play DN, I can play inside, I can play whatever. So it's like it's not a big issue for me. Whatever they want me to play.
At Los Alamitos High School as a senior, playing an incredibly stacked schedule, you were named the LA Times All-Star Team as a defensive line. What did that honor mean to you to receive that recognition?
It was a great honor. I mean, I never expected it. No one told me it was gonna happen. Just my dad sent it to me one day, and I was like, oh wow, that's sick. I'm like, geez, and it was great. I mean, I was on the list with guys like Mateo Uiagalelei, and people like that, and they're great players, and I'm happy to be recognized by them.
You didn't know it was going to be in the LA Times until the newspaper actually came out?
Yeah, I had no idea.
That's awesome. Nice surprise.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Did your dad just randomly open up the LA Times and his son was there?
Yeah, I think that's how it happened, actually.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I think my mom actually saw it in a newspaper and then bring it back to the house. And then he was like, oh, wow.
No doubt, man. That is incredible. Is it like do you have is there a place where they keep those things of all the times you've been in?
Yeah, we have that newspaper around here somewhere for sure.
That's fantastic. Super cool. So when do you plan to enroll at SDSU?
So they were telling me around June 11th is when I'd be coming in. So I think that's the first group of people.
Yeah. Yep. So, between now and that time, man, what are you working on, thinking about as you're preparing to come on campus?
I want to play. That's all I'm really thinking about. I want to. I just want to play football. I mean, I'm not the type to back down for anyone, you know. And I'm gonna have a lot of training starting. I'm gonna go into online school, and then I'm gonna train for a couple of months in Arizona with my brother. I did that last year too, and then I have around 4 months of just straight work before I come in.
San Diego State's had a lot of churn. You could call it in the coaching on the assistant coaches. You mentioned Coach Coop; he's no longer there. The defensive line Coach Enna, went back home to BYU at the beginning of January, I believe. In came Boje Philly Moiaku. He was a UNLV defensive lineman. What were your thoughts about Coach Enna departing, and then how have you had a chance to talk to Boje yet and get to know him?
Coach Enna leaving, I was really sad about that. I mean, I really liked him as a person. I really liked he was the person that came on my home visit, and he was a big reason that we came there. But we also heard the new coach. He's a lot like Coach Enna, and they know each other very well. And so I have complete trust in the new coach, and I have no problem with it. No, nothing wrong with it, you know.
Yeah, and an added plus, I think, at San Diego State is the head coach is a D-line coach.
Yeah,
Billy Hoke, and he's very involved with the defensive line. What are your thoughts about playing for a head coach that's going to be very involved in your position as well?
When I was on my official, I mean, he was all over the D lineman. Even the position meetings, he wouldn't talk to anybody else but the D lineman. Always with my parents, and it was nice to see. I mean, I feel like he genuinely cares about the D lineman more than everyone else, and you don't get that at any other school. I feel like.
I don't want to screw the story up, but I think he does like homemade pizzas on like Thursday nights with
Really?
his family, and then brings leftovers for only the defensive linemen on Fridays. I think I've heard him tell that story on some interviews.
Wow.
So that might be something for you to look forward to. Pizza on Fridays.
For sure.
The Aztecs signed 14 high school seniors that are going to be incoming freshmen next year. You were one of the later commits. Have you had a chance? You mentioned some of the people on your visit, like Briley, but have you had a chance to kind of connect with maybe some of the defensive linemen that are coming in with you?
Yeah, I was talking a lot with Brady Nasser, I think that's his last name.
Yeah,
I was talking. He's a really cool guy. I mean, we play the same position. I feel like we both have that size and length. You know, I feel like that's a good thing that they're recruiting a lot of big people. I think. I think that's the only two I really got to connect with my time there, Brady and Briley. But yeah, they're really cool guys.
Well, we've had the chance to interview both of them, and as you say, man, good people, man, and they really impress, just like you are doing. So SDSU, man, they have a program that has a reputation for just being really hardworking. We recently talked with Coach Hall, their strength and conditioning coach. What have you heard about the program that he leads and just the work that the Aztecs put into being great at football?
Shoot, all I can say, I mean, whatever he's doing over there looks scary. Everyone's told me that you can't prepare for it, that you can't physically or mentally prepare for it. Hopefully I get in there well prepared, ready to keep up with everybody, keep up with his regiments and all that.
So, how did you receive the message that, it is physically and mentally demanding? I mean, where did that come from?
I think it was, we took a little stroll through there, and then we just saw players on the side, and they're doing this crazy workout I've never seen before. And then we also I was asking the players, like, how's Coach Hall's workouts? And they're like, oh, it's deadly. Like, even being a junior or a sophomore there, still there's like, can't get used to it. And that's a big task, to take on.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's one of the more impressive, I think, parts of it, because that's intentional, right?
Yeah.
Coach Hall, the way he designs it, it's designed to be stretching even to every player, no matter where they're at. Definitely learned some insights last time we talked to him about, just that it's also a very supportive environment for all the players as well. So it's pretty interesting. But you mentioned, man, you play basketball.
A little bit.
I think maybe aside from the actual basketball team, I think SDSU's incoming football class might be able to like win any intramural tournament that takes place. There are so many basketball players. Even Briley was talking about. He said he liked food too much, so he couldn't keep playing basketball. I mean, tell us about what kind of basketball player position you played, etc.
When it comes to basketball, I feel like I have a whole different personality than football.
Huh.
I feel like when I'm on a basketball court, I feel like nobody can stop me, you know? I mean, I can play whatever position, really. I grew up playing center or whatever, but I transitioned into just I can play guard. I could play any of that. I mean, if I was 2 inches, 3 inches taller, then maybe I'd be at San Diego State playing some basketball. But I didn't get blessed with that, sadly. But yeah, basketball is definitely my passion. If I were to have one.
So give me your thoughts, man. LeBron passing Kareem. Did you catch any of that? And,
I did. Saw the fadeaway for the game. I mean, LeBron's cool. He's top 5 maybe.
Ooh. Give me. Who's the other four? Who are the other four?
I gotta go MJ first, Kobe second, Bill Russell third, and then Wilt fourth.
Andre, do you see how quick this young man gave a great answer to his? Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. I like it.
I agree with number one, so that's all that
matters. I'm just curious, like how Shin even has any idea who he is. Yeah. That's my question. Like the people that you picked for your top 5, they like that's some history. That's some studying.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it. That's good.
There's a Bill Russell documentary on Netflix that just came out either yesterday or today.
Yeah, I think I saw that. It's just you can't beat 11 rings, Just 11. Who's done that,
Nobody.
I'm surprised that he did that. That's wow.
One last question before we get into the rapid fire. Did you attend a game at Snapdragon this year? And if so, what was your impression?
Yeah, I did. I went to the one against Air Force. It was a good game. The stadium was live. It was huge. I mean, the food stands, it was like professional, it was like an actual NFL stadium, I felt like. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It was nice.
As a way to get Aztec fans to get to know you better, we have some, non-football related rapid fire questions. You ready for those?
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Gotta go ramen.
Any particular spot?
I was just in Japan for a little bit, but and nothing beats Japanese ramen, but I don't think I have a spot out in California yet.
I was gonna say, did they ruin it for you?
What about favorite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie? Probably Black Panther. I like Black Panther. Yeah, I just watched the new one too the other day in theaters, so yeah, definitely Black Panther.
Nice. What about favorite musical artist or group?
I like Drake. I mean, Drake, regular raps. Thames, if you guys know who Thames is.
I don't.
It's more my age kind of stuff.
I was actually half expecting. Sorry.
How do you spell that? Is it TEMS?
Yeah.
What kind of music is it?
It's like R&B.
No, I was actually half expecting, if you were dropping like Bill Russell and 11 titles, like I was, I don't know what you were gonna, what decade you were gonna.
Oh no, I mean
musical interest, man. You're a historian.
I'm not a big '80s music guy, or I'm not into all that. So
the '80s were very pop heavy.
Yeah.
I'm more of a '90s music guy. '90s were the ultimate. We mentioned some, former basketball players that you're fans of. What about who's your favorite professional athlete?
Oh, professional of all time?
Yeah.
Professional athlete. That's a big one. But
you could throw out a couple names if you don't want to go with one.
I want to go Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant, I mean, he has a iffy pass, but I just think he's just unstoppable. Everyone wants to be like him. I mean, if you look at people that try and like who played against him and try and guard him, they're like all they can say is like we tried, you know. And it's hard to
Yeah.
it's hard to top that. But maybe football, probably Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa, I really like him. I mean, he's just crazy. He's just the way he moves, how big he is. You know,
Yeah.
nothing like him. But yeah, Joey Bosa, Kevin Durant.
Bosa's great. I think he just needs to learn not to throw his helmet on the sideline and get personal foul penalties in the playoff. But
Yeah.
what about favorite hobby when you're not playing football or basketball? What do you like to do?
I mean, I play a lot of video games. I mean, I'm a nerd at heart. I can be on the game for however long. But yeah, I love video games for sure.
What are you into?
I play 2K. I play some Madden. I play whatever. Honestly, whatever my friends are playing.
Okay. Social thing. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then last question, what are you thinking about area of study, major as you come into San Diego State?
So that's a hard one. That's something I'm gonna determine more a little later down the line.
Yeah,
I don't want to embarrass myself right now talking about that.
No, this is whatever answer you give is you're set in stone. You can't change it after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right. That never happened. No, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it sounds like you are. Sounds like you know your history and you like getting into some of those stories and things that happened in the past, man.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
just putting it out
Okay.
there. Putting it out there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see to that.
Shin, thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, guys.
Talking
Great
to
job,
you.
man. Great job.
Good luck over the next few months, and we'll look forward to seeing you out in fall practice.
Yep. Can't wait to get there.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Our second guest today is Kenneth Jiles Jr., a 6'6", 240-pound defensive end from Hocking College. He's originally from Springfield, Ohio, and will be coming in as a sophomore in the fall at San Diego State after playing one season at Hocking College. In the 9 games at Hocking, he logged 17 tackles, 12 of them solo, 3 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss, while also adding 3 forced fumbles and a fumble recovery. Jiles also played basketball and track at Springfield High, and after his stellar 2022 season at Hocking, was rated a 3-star recruit and the number 6 edge rusher from JUCO per 24/7 Sports. We want to welcome Kenneth Jiles Jr. to the SDSU Football Podcast. How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's glad to be here, and I appreciate y'all taking the time out to talk to me.
Absolutely.
Really excited, man. Really excited.
You're one of the newest Aztecs, a junior college transfer from Hocking College. Take us through your recruiting process as a JUCO, looking to kind of make that move to Division I, how San Diego State fit into that, and what other schools you were considering.
The process, it was a very long and hard-fought process. I really didn't start getting recruited until, I say, midway through the season, with my first offer being from Alabama A&M. I had offers from Toledo, New Mexico, Jackson State. I had a few offers, but really the process was really tedious because there was a point. There was a point at me being a JUCO, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into, my craft and what I do. There was a point I didn't even think, I would be getting recruited because I wasn't hearing nothing from coaches or anything. But it really sparked up around mid-year. Actually, right when I left my New Mexico visit, I heard from San Diego State. Actually, Coach Craig, he called me right after I got off the plane from New Mexico. I landed in Ohio. So ever since then, I've been talking to San Diego State. I've been loving the coaches, love the atmosphere. I had a great time down there. So it was really an easy decision, especially coming from the Midwest. I ain't never seen a beach or, a beautiful downtown like San Diego has, or, just the beautiful people in the whole state, just everything.
Now, you said when you were leaving your New Mexico visit, you got a call from, I think he's Craig Smith.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was that the first time San Diego State had contacted you, or had you been in contact with them and that was when they actually made the offer?
No. So that was the first time heard from San Diego State. Really, he just at first when he called me, he just summed up the program. He told me they was very interested. I didn't get an offer until I actually got down there to the visit, which was the previous weekends ago.
That's
Hmm.
unbelievable, man. Congratulations on that. That's an incredible process. Definitely want to get into that later on. But you tweeted out, the day of signing day that you were going to, or the day before that you were going to announce at 5 p.m.
Hmm.
But then 10 a.m. on signing day, it became official. Why was there that change of plans?
Really, I couldn't wait no longer. I wanted everybody to know I was an Aztec. I couldn't hold it in. I talked to myself the night before. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make an official time to drop where I'm going so everybody knows. But I couldn't hold it in any longer. After I got off the phone with Coach Maddox, it was I was like I had to post it. I have to.
So take us back through. I mean, the weekend before signing day. What were some of the highlights in addition to the beach, in addition to the city, the people, and I think that the people didn't look like Andre and I. Sorry, not everyone in San Diego is like who you saw.
Uh-huh.
But who was your player host? What were what are some other things that you saw about San Diego specifically?
Really, just the program. The program, like it's a great program that I know I could achieve great things in. Me, of course, my goal is to be in the NFL. And San Diego State, they have everything I need to get to where I want to be. So that was a really big thing. But like my hosts were great. Every player I talked to were great. So that was, of course, another big part because those are going to be my teammates. That's my family now. After I seen everything, I really knew off like the first day this was home.
Your visit came at a unique time because the Aztecs had started winter conditioning. What were you able to witness about the work they were putting in, your new teammates were putting in while you were there?
I really didn't get to see any of that really,
Hmm.
but I know they've been putting in a lot of work. Just talking to the strength and conditioning person, he really told me what it was. He told me if you come here, you're gonna have to work. We expect nothing less from you. That I really didn't get to see too much on the workout side of what they were doing though.
I believe you've been at junior college 1 year. So is that fair to say you have 3 years of eligibility remaining,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
plus a redshirt year?
No, not necessarily because technically I've been in junior college for 2 years. There was a situation in my first year that caused me to be ineligible, and it wasn't nothing disciplinary or anything. I was just behind on credits. So my first year I couldn't play, and then this previous year that just came that was my first year. So I'll have 3 years of eligibility.
And I believe you told me you will be enrolling come the summer. Just is that accurate? And then what are you doing now until the summer to make sure you're ready to go once you get here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's very accurate. All I'm doing right now is really working, trying to get money, and working out. That's all I do. So I work out every day throughout the week. I got a trainer. It's hard work up here, but I'm getting myself prepared so I could be ready by the time summer comes and make a statement.
And so, speaking of that statement, man, for people who haven't seen your game, how would you describe it?
I'll describe it fast. I'm a very fast person, running a 4.640, which is like that's really my strong suit. So like if I'm coming off the line, I'm coming off the line. You gotta be ready. I don't react off you. You react off me.
So, San Diego State is losing a bunch of people on the defensive line, including an All-American who started his career, Jonah Tavai, as from a JUCO, just like you. It took him a year to fully acclimate before, all the great things that he ended up doing in his career. What have you heard about that transition to the next level? And just what is your thought process to make sure you can hit the ground running?
I've been hearing this next level, of course, is going to be harder work, better competition. Coming from JUCO, you're not going to see a 4-star, 5-star lineman every game. So that's going to be the biggest transition. Really, everything else is going to come. Like my JUCO, we ran the same defense as San Diego, so I'm kind of knowing like what to do and so forth. But really, that's gonna be the biggest. That's gonna be the biggest change is the competition. But I'm a person, I love competition. I feed off that. That's just gonna get me even better, push me even more.
Could you explain a little bit? I mean, the 3-3-5, it's kind of catching on in a lot of places, but it's a pretty unique defense. Did any of your like former coaches have connections to anyone on the staff? Or I mean, how does it that they ran the 3-3-5?
So my head coach from Hocking, Coach Egger, he was actually good friends with Coach Rocky Long. So
Ah,
he
okay.
got the defense straight from Rocky Long, and so it's basically exactly what San Diego State does. So that was another thing that drew me toward him. So I already know a lot about the defense.
Okay, so let me get this straight now. Now that I'm connecting a bunch of dots here. So
Hmm.
you went on a visit and met your coach's friend at New Mexico, and on that same weekend was when San Diego State first called?
No, not necessarily. So
Okay.
when I went on a visit to New Mexico, so actually let me backtrack. Some of the San Diego State staff, they
Mhm.
know my high school head coach, Coach Maurice Douglas. They like him a lot. They like him a lot. So I think that's how they first found me. After I got off the plane from New Mexico, I got a text on Twitter from Coach Smith talking about if I had time to talk. So that's when we had the conversation, and he told me they was interested or and stuff like that. He said the only way they found me is because I went to that New Mexico visit.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. But
Very
them having ties with my head coach from high school helped a lot too.
Awesome. San Diego State, Coach Enna was the defensive line coach up until about a month ago. He went back home to coach at BYU. San Diego State just hired Boje Philly Moiatu from a former UNLV defensive line coach. How did you kind of process that coaching change when you were making your decision? And have you had a chance to catch up with Coach Boje yet?
That really didn't affect my decision, only because when my last day at me being at San Diego, I met Coach Boje. So
Mm.
me and Coach Boje, we had a nice conversation, and then actually a little bit after that, that's when I committed. Yeah, I like Coach Boje.
And another interesting part of it is, the head coach of San Diego State, Brady Hoke, he's a defensive line coach. He pays a lot of attention at practice to the defensive line. What is it going to be like for you to get coached by someone that's coached in the NFL as a defensive line coach and kind of bring that wisdom to you in addition to your defensive line positional coach?
Honestly, that's just gonna help me even more. Somebody not knows exactly what they're doing. Somebody that could critique me if I'm doing something wrong or if something should look like how it's supposed to be. Like
Mhm.
that's just going to make me even a better player. So I really love that. I really love that, and it starts with the line. So if your line's not right, then the whole defense is all thrown apart. So I really love him being the defensive line coach. I feel like I could learn a lot from him, a lot.
So you were mentioning earlier that you were forced to redshirt because you were behind on credits and you were getting caught up and stuff like that. But could you just take us back a little bit into high school and the decision to go JUCO because you sound like a world class athlete, and so the fact that you would end up at JUCO, is a little bit perplexing, right? So
Yeah.
just take us back to that process, how you ended up there, and I guess what JUCO was like for you until you started getting those offers midway through your first season there.
Okay. So really, it's I feel like I have like one of the craziest stories and football really. So my whole high school, I didn't play football until my senior year. So from freshman year to junior year, I was doing other sports like basketball, track. I even had a job that helped me pay for my first car. I was really focused on that. The coach I told you about earlier, Coach Maurice Douglas, he kept asking me. He was like, "Come on, KJ, come play for us." So I finally gave in. I finally gave in. So I came out, and the thing is, so in Ohio, for high school, you're supposed to be in 5 classes to play for that season. What messed me up, I was only in 4 classes. So I was suspended 8 games during that season and couldn't come back into the playoffs. So really, I didn't even have a high school career in football. I had like, I'll say 10 snaps or less.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So with them 10 snaps, I gained two D2 offers, one from Walsh University and one from Urbana. I took the offer to Walsh. I was there only a month or two. I wasn't registered in no classes. I didn't participate in any games or anything. So I really was there for like a month or two, and then I left.
Hmm.
I left because I didn't like the structure of the program. So that's what made me get into JUCO.
Did you play football like Pee Wee growing up before you got to
Oh
high school?
yeah.
Or is that the first time you actually played structured football in your senior year of high school?
So Pee Wee, yeah, I played football from K through 7th or 8th grade. K through 7th and 8th. I played multiple positions. I played quarterback. I played linebacker. I played D line. I played tight end. I played O line. I played a lot of stuff. So I'm an athlete. It's just I don't know why, but in high school for some reason I don't know. I just didn't play. I didn't play.
Hmm.
You took my question. That was going to be my question. Like, why you stopped? Okay, so I think this might have to be a record. 10 snaps and 2 offers. I mean, the snaps per offer ratio, man, is really high. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah. It's insane. I don't understand how I got it either, but I was blessed.
No
And
doubt.
honestly, without the whole situation, I probably wouldn't even be where I am today. So I'm glad everything happens for a reason.
So now you're redshirting your first season of JUCO.
Hmm.
No coaches are calling you. You've already walked away from D2 schools.
Hmm.
I mean, is there a moment of doubt, a moment where you're just like, man, I should have stuck it out there. I should have. I mean, where are you at there? Because you obviously have been putting a lot of your future and your planning now is in football,
Hmm.
and it wasn't necessarily paying off right away.
Yeah. Really, it didn't change anything because my mind was I'm gonna continue putting in this work until until something shows. So that didn't stop nothing. Honestly, it didn't stop nothing. I knew I had a whole year, next year ahead of me. So I was really just focused on getting better and getting prepared for this year coming up. I couldn't let none of that hold me back. The moment you let something like that hold you back, then you fail. You can't let nothing like that hold you back.
And then now you're moving from Ohio to America's finest city.
Hmm.
What are just some of your general thoughts about moving halfway across the continent, putting down new roots, things of that nature?
Really, it doesn't scare me. Honestly, I wanted to move out of Ohio, and just to be like you said, in one of the finest cities in America. That's all I need. That's all I need. So I'm not nervous about it. I'm ready. I'm prepared, and I can't wait to tackle everything that's in front of me. I can't wait.
The Aztecs obviously are known for their defense. 2 years ago, Cameron Thomas was a defensive end, All-American, got drafted in the third round. Jonah Tavai was a Pro Football Focus All-American this year. But all three starters graduated, and they're looking to, fill not just, the starting roles, but those, primary backup roles. What do you do? What do you and the rest of the defensive linemen need to do to replace such a big part of the team from last year?
Really just work. If you work, everything's golden. That's really what it is. That's what football's about. Work, 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 work. Go wake up every day and work. Don't take no days off. Don't procrastinate. Don't do none of that. Just work. That's all football is work. Hard work. Hard work pays off.
Maybe it's too soon for that, but based on some of the conversations you had with Coach Maddox and Coach Boj, Coach Hoke, are you looking to come in and try to compete and play right away? Are you looking for development time? What have those discussions been like?
I'm looking to come in and play. I'm looking to come in and play. And I'm a work hard for that, and I'm gonna make sure I work hard for that. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna try to play for sure.
I'm sure the coaches love to hear that for sure. Last set of questions is a little bit non-football related. Just to get the Aztec fans to get to know you a little bit better. We have some fun rapid fire questions. You ready for those?
Okay, yeah. Let's go.
What's your favorite food?
Probably chicken. You can't go wrong with chicken.
Any
You can do
particular type of chicken or how it's prepared?
Fried chicken, or chicken off the grill.
Okay.
Fried chicken or chicken off the grill. You could do so many things with chicken. Put it in a salad, everything.
You ever
Chicken.
had it in a burrito?
Yeah, for sure. A buffalo
Okay.
burrito. Skyline. Yeah.
Is there like a one food that Ohio is known for?
No, not
No?
really. No.
I was gonna say Skyline chili.
A lot of people do love that up here, though.
I was gonna say that yeah. That's what I know.
What about favorite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie? Friday. It's a classic.
Nice, great choice. Favorite musical artist or group?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say my favorite musical artist, and he's been growing on me a lot, is No Cap. His name's No Cap.
Okay, what type of music is that?
It's rap, R&B, it's both.
I think this might turn out to be Andre's favorite episode because both of the Andre is as deep into rap, hip hop, all music as you possibly can be. He is a savant, knows it all. But the yourself included, and the last guest, he didn't know the artists that were referenced, and it's literally the first time it's happened. So I think it's going to give him a good chance to go and uncover some artists, which does not happen for Andre very often.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you know. No Cap, he's not gonna disappoint you at all. He's not gonna disappoint.
I'll send back a report.
Okay.
There you go.
Favorite professional athlete, and it could be a current player or a past from the past.
TJ Watt, and he played on the best team in America.
Wisconsin, right?
Nah, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh
I was about to say you can't pick another college team, Andre. This is a college athlete. The best team in America for Mr. Jiles here is at San Diego State, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Pittsburgh guy. Very nice.
Yeah, that's my go-to. I'm a diehard Pittsburgh fan.
There you go. How does that develop?
Really, I grew up with it. My mama and my brother, they were big Pittsburgh fans, so I really just grew up into it.
Okay. What part of Ohio? I mean, is that where you're from originally, or are you a transplant, or what was that about?
I live in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
It's nowhere close to Pittsburgh, but
right.
They always been Pittsburgh fans.
Gotcha.
What about your favorite hobby when you're not playing football or basketball? What do you like to do for fun?
Really just be with friends or cook and play the game. Play Madden, 2K, Call of Duty. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I heard those magic words, man. Cook?
Yeah, cook. Yeah.
Come on, let's go, man. What can you throw down?
See, I'm not an expert, but I could cook a mean chicken.
Wait, so your favorite food is your own fried chicken?
Yeah,
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
yeah.
talking
I'll throw
about.
down in the kitchen. I'll throw
Oh,
down in the
come
kitchen.
on. No, that's no. This is you're the first person who has said that their own cooking is their
Oh,
favorite
really?
meal. That's legit, bro. That's
Yeah,
legit.
yeah. See, I'm not.
Okay.
I can't cook like nothing too crazy, but like something simple like chicken. I could cook. I could cook I could cook a pork chop. Of course, the simple mac and cheese and stuff like that. But really, my go-to is chicken.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure, but I do think that the team's kind of like go-to spot to hang out, I think that might be in flux. Some of the guys who are graduating and graduated last year. So man, I'll bet you could get a lot of people, man, if you get that chicken coming.
Okay, for sure, for sure.
Last question. Area of study, major. What? Obviously you're coming over from a JUCO, but what are you looking to get a degree in?
I'm looking to major in business and minor in kinesiology.
Awesome. Thank you,
Yeah,
KJ. Thank you so much. This is a great interview. It was awesome to get a chance to chat with you, get to know you.
Incredible.
yeah.
I think we're all excited to see you come to San Diego in the summer and see you at fall practice and once the fall season starts. So we appreciate you taking the time.
And I appreciate y'all for having me. It was great talking to y'all, and I feel like we had a great conversation.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Have a great night, man.
All right, y'all too. Y'all too.
Paul, we wrapped up 2 more conversations with incoming players in the class of 2022. We've talked a lot about how the 22 players signed are mostly on the defensive side, right? There's 14 defensive players, 8 offensive players. 6 of those 14, almost half of the defensive players are defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
We've now had a chance to talk with 4 of those 6, plus a 5th guy, Joseph Hall, who isn't a scholarship guy because he's got the GI Bill and he has already his tuition covered. So we've talked to really 5 of the 7 defensive linemen, which is going to be a crucial part of the development and the roster. And I think Shin and KJ are going to fit into that or try to fit into that as much as possible. Let's start with Shin. What did you take away from our conversation with him?
Well, I think everybody who's listening to this, obviously you are a follower of San Diego State football, right? You're a diehard. That's our audience. So if you haven't had the opportunity to go onto Huddle and to watch this young man's film, I strongly recommend that you take the time to do that. It's impressive, and then you're going to be really impressed with it. He's explosive. He has a variety of moves, all the things that you would want from a defensive lineman. And not being coaches, none of us, Andres, myself, anybody in the audience necessarily, potentially, I suppose, it's hard to know if he's just playing bad competition. But you do a little bit of research and you realize that it's just the opposite. He's playing against guys who are D1 players. They're one of the top 50 teams in the country, something to that effect. High-ranked team in California, play in, Los Angeles. And so I think San Diego State should be really excited about this guy coming to the Aztecs. He seemed to have some grade issues, which probably, as he mentioned, deterred some of his recruitment. Probably also some of the recruiting sites probably didn't, go and do a full thing on him for the same reasons. That stopped from generating maybe some of the buzz that he would have had if those things weren't in place. But that doesn't change the kind of player he is. And as far as a defensive lineman coming out of high school and coming to the Aztecs, his film is as good as I've seen. And so I say that would just be the first kind of preface about Shin. What about you?
I enjoyed how honest and transparent he was about the issues he had with his school and his transcript. He said, I'm not a school guy, I think is what he said. And how COVID and going to, Zoom classes and online teaching kind of messed with him. And he had to get that back in order as it messed with people of all ages, not just high school students, but, children, elementary school, even people in the workforce like us that had to shift and react. So it wasn't easy. And, it was refreshing to hear him, admit that about himself. He fits the mold of what San Diego State is trying to become, especially with those defensive ends, with height and size and length. Cameron Thomas, is the prototype, but it's hard to get to that, reach his level, obviously, but that's what everybody's going to be compared to from here on out as a San Diego State defensive end is, are you Cameron Thomas? Can you be as good as Cameron Thomas? Can you disrupt the game like Cameron Thomas? And I think a lot of these guys coming in have potential to become that type of player. With Shin, we've talked a lot about how there's a lot of openings on there and a lot of chance to compete. And with the guys that San Diego State brought in on the transfer portal, the guys they had on the roster last year, it's going to be an uphill battle probably this year for him. But I think that he's got a great opportunity moving forward and a great future potentially at San Diego State.
I agree with all those things. And you mentioned people having trouble with COVID, and he's obviously not the first person that has been derailed from it. Had an earlier straight A student, honor roll kind of guy, who fell off a little bit just because it was just it's a different thing. I think hopefully he will not be hopefully, and if it happens to him, he won't be the first person that school wasn't necessarily their thing in high school, but then they get to college and they realize that they have a little bit more freedom of movement, and the subjects matter. They can craft a little bit, especially as upperclassmen, and he'll be able to find kind of his rhythm and his niche in that. But I agree with everything that you said. I think that his honesty, his transparency. I found it interesting how quickly both of these guys committed to San Diego State. And I think that if you're looking for just signs of San Diego State's kind of like rising status, for years, this would be what would happen with guys that San Diego State was recruiting, right? Guys that San Diego State's been on for a long time. They've offered early, they've got in early, and then a Power 5 school comes in, has sent the kid a carrier pigeon, and they're on, and they're there, and they're going to go commit to that school. And I think in both of these cases, they committed to San Diego State in Shin's case before coming on campus. With KJ, as we heard, and we'll talk about, like, he was not offered all the way up until his official visit just a few days before signing day, and he got that offer and wanted to be an Aztec. And so I think with both of these kids, looking at their recruitment, that they're interesting case studies for how San Diego State has improved in the eyes of these kids. That, when you have all of these Mountain West offers, and you have, different offers to different places around the country, and a school like San Diego State offers you jump at it. And I think that's a really, really important thing. And then finally, I think that the thing for me that is interesting, I think you can see in just like the personalities that these guys have. I think you can see with Shin, like, we were asking him about winning the award. Nobody in his family knew it was coming, and they just open up the paper and it's like, hey, what a great surprise. And it's just sort of like, yeah, that's what I did. That happened, you know what I mean? And I would just be like, no, this is the most incredible thing. And he obviously has a drive to do more than just be, in a high school all-star team. And he has a desire to be more than just a Division I athlete. And he has a desire to do those things. And I think he's going to work, man. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think the most unfair part of the comparison to Cameron Thomas, as you were talking about, is not how good he is at the end of his journey. It's the idea that anybody can roll up like Dan Bellinger, like Cam Thomas, as an undersized kind of tweener kind of guy, and work his way to becoming a prototypical player that the NFL is looking for. And once somebody does it, everyone has the expectation that can happen. And I think that's where the unfair part is. At the same time, that's where, Sinn Brennan is going to have to be able to that's everybody who plays there plays the Division I level is a great athlete. Every person who plays there has the potential, but it's about who can figure out their individual path and the discipline and luck and all of the different ingredients that can turn you into what Cam Thomas became. And I think that Shin has as good a shot as any of the other linemen that you were mentioning that the SDSU brought in.
Yeah, the one additional item, kind of unrelated to football, is when he was talking about basketball. That's about how basketball is his number one passion, and if he was, a couple inches taller, maybe he'd be playing basketball at San Diego State. I thought that was cool, and also, you brought this up when he answered, but listing Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain in his top 5, guys who were long gone by the time we were born, I think.
Yeah.
And how he's understood the historical relevance and of older players and what they've done. I thought that was really cool. It's refreshing to hear that from someone that's 18 years old, obviously. That was really cool.
You think that translates to being coachable?
That's a good question. I've never really thought about that. I don't know. Do you?
No, I either. I just thought that popped into my head as well. Like if he's willing to understand and appreciate, because he obviously never saw them play. It's going to be videos. It's going to be other people's opinions that he's read about. It's going to be those kinds of things, and he brings those into what he believes and who he is. That is potentially a definition of coachable.
That's an interesting angle. It makes sense. It definitely shows that he's taken the time to invest in researching things like that.
Yeah.
That some people don't want to, or don't really have a care for it. That's what it shows me, and whether that translates to him being more coachable. And that's an interesting way to look at it. I don't disagree with it. I don't know.
I wouldn't know how to prove it or how to think of it.
Yeah.
Right. But I would also say too, though, just talking with both of them, the change in coaching staff, right? As an Aztec community, Justin Enna was not a known commodity. He was not somebody that we were able to interview. Had him on our list for this off season, and you just don't fully know the impact that he necessarily had. But with all these guys that we've talked about, the impact was substantial for these human beings.
Yeah.
And then for Coach Boj to come in and already to have made such a great impact with both of these guys, I think that also bodes well for that piece. But then, of course, they both really geek on the idea that Brady Hoke is going to be working with them, and they appreciated. I don't know what the right phrase. Maybe so many of the 14 that came in are being defensive linemen is because when they go on their official visits, Coach Hoke is given the defensive line, a little bit of love, and one of the best recruiters in the country is doing his thing for that group. I thought that was an interesting aspect. He gave so much time to my parents, and we were talking, and it was really, really great. And so I think that part of it is showing that the kids are wanting to come to San Diego State because they're wanting to be, the next All-American, like you said, Cameron Thomas and, Jonah Tavai, and from that defensive line, front 6 group.
Yeah, moving on to KJ Jiles. Hands down has to be the interview where we learned the most about a player.
Yeah. Is that our fault?
No, because
is that a confession or
maybe, but there just wasn't a ton of information out there, in the Google world that we usually try to research when we're about to interview someone. Obviously, with high schoolers or JUCO guys, there's not a ton of it out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can usually find a local article or two from high school, from JUCO, something. And with KJ, there just wasn't anything. And now we know why, because his football career is so short and so limited. Yeah, that's probably a big part of it. But as he said, I have one of the craziest stories in football. Going through it, step by step, it's pretty remarkable that he's now a Division I, or will be in a couple months, a Division I athlete at San Diego State.
No, it's wild, and I mean now obviously the you did the homework, and so all of us get to enjoy the information that's out there now, right?
Yeah.
Because of the article that you published, and as you know, after I got done reading your article, it made me like wonder about his high school days, and so I went to his huddle page,
Mm-hmm.
and I scrolled down, and his huddle page consists of 4 high school plays, one of
Yeah.
them in a scrimmage, and one of them I think he might be a tight end. I don't really know what's going on in the other one, and then 2 from the defensive line, and it's something like 36 seconds total. And then
Yeah.
when he told us it's 10 plays, it's like, well, another way to look at it is that's like 30 to 40% of his entire snaps in high school. And so it's wild. And then, to hear from that he gets 2 scholarship offers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy the way recruiting and all that stuff works out, because we've had conversations about different players and you just go, why doesn't that guy have a dozen offers? And you see him, roll up into practice at San Diego State, and you're like, okay, that guy can play. And then you go and you look back and you're like, oh, what missed? And then you have the flip side of that, where you have a guy who's played 10 plays and he's, a D2 athlete. I mean, he was there, he was enrolled, starting to work out and stuff like that. And so I think that's pretty special. And then I think you start thinking about and paying attention to that this kid hasn't played a lot of football. So whatever he is right now, there's a higher potential. Him having 4.6 speed. I don't know where he did it, when they did, or all that kind of stuff that goes into it. But taking it for what it is, I mean, that would place him, I think, in the top 10 of all of the edge rushers who were at the combine last year. That's like stupid athletic. I mean, that's like world-class athlete. Yeah. And then you start to see like, oh, okay, this is why. People are seeing like a raw, talented athlete. I mean, I think one of my favorite lines in your article was, the guy who was 6'2" and 180 when his high school coach started bugging him is now 6'6", 240 for San Diego State. And you're like, that's an impressive athlete. You could see why, maybe San Diego State wanted to see this kid in person to make sure 100% that all of that was real, or whatever their internal thinkings were. We obviously, anyway, so it just, there's more to talk about, but I would turn it back to you. But it's just a really, really impressive story.
One thing Coach Douglas told me that I didn't put in the article, he said in that senior year during practice, he would call him Clowney, Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh my gosh.
The dread,
right.
Mostly because of the physical attributes and the dreads and the hair coming off of the back of the neck like Clowney. But he also said, KJ was such a nice guy that he was trying to build that edge like for him to get a little meaner, a little nastier, like Clowney is when he plays.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get it out of him because KJ was so new to football in terms of high school level, and also was such a nice guy. And he was trying to just get him over that, get him to that next level, become nastier. I thought that was interesting. And it's just, Coach Douglas saw him, walking in the building as a freshman and saying that guy needs to play football, or try, because as he told me, like, he told him, you don't want to not play and not try and then regret it later, because you realize that, oh yeah, I maybe should have played football. So that's part of that crazy story that KJ has gone through that's brought him here. I mean, his stats don't jump off the page, right? Even last year, I think he had 17 tackles, but he had 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. One interesting thing I noted is in JUCO, sacks don't count as tackles for losses. So his 4 tackles for losses were in addition to his 3 sacks. So
you start getting decent numbers there. I mean,
a little different than college football does it, because it counts sacks as tackles for losses. So like someone has 6 sacks, they automatically already have 6 tackles for losses. But in the JUCO level, those are separate. Those are not the same. But yeah, I mean, he he did what he did in over 9 games and started getting calls from Toledo, who were the MAC champions, right? San Diego State beat them, but they ended up becoming MAC champions. New Mexico, obviously, San Diego State eventually. So he caught the attention of a lot of people. And the story about the connection with Coach Hoke and Coach Maddox and Coach Douglas, I think, is fascinating too. The Dayton, Ohio linkage and the Michigan camps. And, those coaches trusted Coach Douglas. So when they called him for, tell us the real, tell us about KJ. Is he a good fit? They heard good things, obviously, because they pursued him and they offered him a scholarship and he ended up there. So,
one of the great things that we do in life, I think, is in society, there's like a million predictions that are made about any topic. And then, 999,000 are wrong, but there's that little cohort that's right. And then those are the ones that we point to and we say, look, predictions work, right? So this is a great example because I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to a student and had said, hey man, you don't want to live a life of regret. And later on, you're going to be down the road and you're going to think like, right, that's something old people say. Like,
are we at that? Are we old? We're over our 40s. Are we considered old?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it always depends which perspective that you're looking from, of course. But the other day I was wrestling with my two daughters, and they hurt my shoulder, and I went, okay, that's one side of being old. And then the next day, I woke up early to yell at somebody to come fix my dishwasher. I was like, yeah, there's another sign. There's another sign of something that old people do. So, I mean, the shoe fits. But talk about being right, and to be right in such a short period of time. I mean, he actually, I guess technically, if he hadn't pursued football, he may not have had regret because he wouldn't have known. But to go from telling them like, you need to do this, and I see this in you, and you can do it, to being a D1 athlete that quick, I thought it's a testament to somebody going the extra mile for a child, giving him an opportunity that he didn't see in himself or didn't want in himself, and having him do something beyond what the kid thought that was the right thing for him to do. And I mean, how easy would it have been for Coach Douglas to just be like, okay, I tried freshman year, I tried, you know what I mean? And then how about like, okay, you try your senior year, but then you see that he only has 4 classes, so he's going to be suspended for 8 games. And to like be content with having him out on your scout team, investing in him and doing those things. And then a couple of years later, now he's going to go play for, a coach that from his time at Michigan and things of that nature. It's just, again, it's a human being doing above and beyond to help another human being. And that's why, and so many of these kids, there's that there is that person in them, and I think as far as being an old person is concerned, it's a good model of like, we can be that old person for other people too, and not just do what's expected, but keep our eyes open for opportunities for other people. Then I just think that it's like, we had Ezra Christensen on the podcast, and he obviously was considering San Diego State, and by certain counts and certain things, Jiles and Christensen were maybe going after the last spot potentially. And I think that, Christensen, obviously, we were blown away by his story and wish him luck at Fresno State, like without question. And you hope that's like the absolute like best situation that he could ever choose and pick. But I think Aztec fans who may have felt a little bit like, did we get man, how do you let a hometown kid with that story and that potential go to a conference rival? Maybe not for long, wink, wink. But I think if you are paying attention to Jiles, his ceiling might be higher. His connection to football, he's played less football. It's incredible, like the ceiling that this kid could have if the San Diego State coaching staff and himself, or if they're able to unlock it.
Yeah, the other aspect of it is coming from a JUCO that plays the same defense, the 3-3-5. I really wanted to unpack that connection to Rocky Long. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in contact with Coach Egger. He has since moved on and took a head coaching position at a different college.
Gotcha.
I wasn't able to get my message or response to him. I didn't see anything in his coaching history that would have overlapped with Rocky Long, but they could just be friends from different associations, different whatever. Instead of actually, so I was really curious about that. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to dig into that, but that's another bonus, having someone that's familiar with the defense. Playing as one of three defensive linemen, being accustomed and familiar with that. Some people have a learning curve when they come in from a typical four down lineman defense to three and learning that. So he's got that leg up, if you want to say, over some of the other guys. And I agree with you. I'm not 100% sure whether there were scholarships out to both Ezra and KJ, and if both accepted, would get those offers, or if it was one or the other. I don't know. I haven't been able to get a final answer on that, but I think both are deserving based on what they've done.
Yeah.
And Ezra made his decision, KJ made his decision, and both of them are hopeful to have great seasons and great multiple seasons at the D1 level in the Mountain West.
Yeah, right. I mean, no, and I think the other part I found very interesting, when in the lead up to, when was this? In the lead up to the early signing day, we're always trying to create content. We're always trying to find different things to be able to bring out to our audience. And so I asked San Diego State, I said, hey, I would love to do recruiting. Like, would you give me some insight on, players visiting or anything of that nature? And they politely said no. I kind of guessed they would, but kind of right to ask, right? And they said no. We just don't like to give that information out. And maybe we understand why, because KJ told us that the only reason San Diego State heard of him was because he went on an official visit to New Mexico, And so those, and you go down to his Twitter and you see it, and so it wouldn't be hard to kind of, okay, you're going here, you're visiting here, and that spreads, these kids' reputation and their names. But I think that's another kind of interesting part of this, is that Rocky Long is arguably the greatest coach that ever coached at San Diego State. Maybe it's the wrong week with Don Coryell going into the Hall of Fame to bring up that kind of idea, but just what he did, especially if San Diego State is able to get into the Power 5 conference and really go to the next level, be that as it may, all the connections they have to New Mexico, man, when it comes to recruiting and it comes to all of that, it's competition. And they went and got a kid that I think, is exactly the kind of kid that New Mexico has to get to be successful. Guys with high ceilings that are a little bit under the radar, and they brought him on. They brought him onto the radar, and San Diego State came in, and I think that next few years they're going to be better because KJ is a part of the program.
You mentioned the New Mexico thing. Like we always hear about how when a player gets an offer and posts it on social media, that then they start getting, other schools will offer someone without ever evaluating them, just because based on the fact that this other school, right? And I'm not saying that's what San Diego State did here. They obviously did their homework on him.
Mm-hmm.
But
came late.
It was another. It was like another what's the right word? It's another way to find out about a player that you would want to evaluate.
It's smart, right? It's smart.
It is smart. You only have so many people on your recruiting staff, and so many people that can go find guys all over the country, including Nelsonville, Ohio, where Hocking College is. Probably not a spot that San Diego State spends a lot of time trying to find players, right? And so when you hear a rival Mountain Conference school who plays the same defense you do, or we don't know if the new guy replacing Rocky Long. Did we ever find out who they replaced Rocky Long with? If it was one of his proteges, or if they brought a different guy in? Yeah, I don't remember either. But anyway, like a team that has so much familiarity and closeness to what you do on the defensive end, bringing someone in for an official visit, that has to pique your interest. And obviously they went and did their homework. They talked to Coach Douglas. They talked to KJ for a month, actually longer than a month before that, and waited until he came for a visit to actually give him an offer. They did their homework. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with using some of that information that gets published on social media as other ways to find guys that you may not have been looking for on the surface.
They also know the kind of talent evaluators Danny Gonzalez is. So I think that's another really interesting part to it. But for whatever reason, we obviously talk to a lot of these defensive linemen, and it's when taken as a whole, like, it's not hard to see these guys meshing together and having that chemistry. A lot of similarities in their personalities, in their drive, a lot of similarities in just kind of their approach to things. And I think that when they get together, working with Coach Boje and with Coach Hoke, I think there's a lot of potential that this can continue to be one of the strengths of the team.
That's going to do it for us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed both interviews. 2 more guys that'll be coming in to campus during the summer. We look forward to seeing them out in the fall. Once again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share on all your favorite platforms. We appreciate all of you for not only listening, but sharing the word to all your fellow Aztec fans. So keep it up. We love to see our listens and our views and our subscriber counts go up. So we appreciate all of you guys for that. And we'll talk to you next time. You are listening to the SDSU Football Podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your hosts Andre Hagverdian and Paul Garrison.